What does it take for a quiet, curious kid to change the way the entire world works? Not just build a company, but reshape how billions of people think, work, and communicate. The life of Bill Gates is not just a story about technology. It is a story about obsession, vision, and the courage to see the future before anyone else does. While others were playing games, he was writing code. While others were chasing comfort, he was chasing possibility. And while the world was still trying to understand computers, he was already imagining a computer on every desk and in every home. But here's the truth most people miss. His success wasn't luck. It wasn't timing alone. And it definitely wasn't easy. It was the result of relentless curiosity, bold decisions, sleepless nights, massive risks, and a mindset that refused to accept limits. Today, we are not just talking about the richest man of his time. We are talking about a man who turned vision into reality, wealth into impact, and success into global change. Because the real lesson from Bill Gates' life is simple. When vision meets obsession, the world changes. And if you truly understand his journey, you might realize something powerful. The same mindset that built a global empire can also transform your life. Great stories often begin with a question no one else is asking. As a young boy, Bill Gates was not simply interested in computers. He was fascinated by possibility. While others saw machines as tools, he saw them as doors to an entirely new future. That kind of curiosity is rare. In men's psychology, a restless mind often signals something deeper, the instinct to build, to solve, to conquer problems that others ignore. Men are often driven by a quiet inner pressure to prove something to the world. For some, that pressure becomes distraction. For others, it becomes purpose. Gates chose purpose. He spent hours exploring code, experimenting, failing, and learning long before anyone believed personal computers would matter. To many around him, it probably looked obsessive, but to him, it felt necessary. From a woman's perspective, ambition in a man can appear confusing at first. The late nights, the intense focus, the constant pursuit of something invisible. Yet that same intensity is often what builds the future. What looks like obsession from the outside is often vision from the inside. A curious mind refuses to settle for the present reality. It constantly asks, what could be better, faster, smarter? Gates wasn't just learning how computers worked. He was imagining how they could change the way humans live, communicate, and create. That relentless curiosity slowly transformed into a mission that few people around him could fully understand. Obsession often begins where ordinary interest ends. For Bill Gates, coding was never just a hobby. It became a relentless pursuit of understanding how machines could reshape human potential. While many people saw computers as complex gadgets meant for specialists, he saw something far bigger. He saw a future where software would quietly power the world, connecting ideas, businesses, and people in ways no one had yet imagined. Men are often wired to chase mastery. When a man finds something that challenges his mind, something that demands focus and rewards persistence, it can become an all-consuming mission. What looks like obsession from the outside is often the psychology of creation from the inside. Gates spent countless hours writing, rewriting, and refining code because each improvement brought him closer to something larger than himself. From a woman's perspective, this intensity can sometimes feel distant or difficult to understand. The long hours, the tunnel vision, the emotional investment in something invisible. Like lines of code. Yet history shows that many revolutions begin exactly this way, with one person refusing to stop until an idea becomes reality. That relentless obsession with software gradually turned into a movement that helped place personal computers into homes, offices, and schools, quietly transforming how the modern world works. Every empire begins with a decision that looks risky to everyone else. When Bill Gates made the bold bet to build software for a future few people believed in, it wasn't certainty guiding him. It was conviction. At a time when computers were large, expensive, and unfamiliar to most households, he believed that software would become the true power behind them. That belief pushed him to move faster than the world was ready for. Men are often driven by the instinct to take calculated risks when they see an opportunity others overlook. It is part of the psychology of leadership, the willingness to step forward when the path is unclear. Gates made decisions that many considered reckless, walking away from traditional expectations and focusing entirely on building something new. What others saw as uncertainty, he saw as possibility. From a woman's perspective, bold ambition can sometimes appear dangerous or unstable. The risks feel real, the outcomes uncertain, and the sacrifices personal. Yet that same willingness to risk comfort is often what builds industries and reshapes societies. A single strategic partnership and a daring vision helped transform a small software effort into Microsoft, a company that would soon dominate the personal computing revolution. Pressure reveals who is truly committed to the mission. As the competition intensified and the future of personal computing began to take shape, Bill Gates responded in the only way he knew, by working harder than almost anyone around him. Long nights, relentless meetings, constant reveres, ions of software, and an unbreakable focus on improving every detail became the rhythm of his life. Men often interpret high stakes as a call to prove their capability. In the psychology of ambition, challenge doesn't always create fear. It often creates drive. Gates pushed himself and his team with an intensity that demanded excellence. He reviewed lines of code personally, questioned every assumption, and expected people around him to match his level of commitment. From a woman's perspective, this kind of intensity can feel overwhelming at times. The emotional cost of relentless work can affect relationships, balance, and stability. Yet that same drive often signals a deeper sense of responsibility. A man determined to protect, build, and lead something meaningful. While others slowed down when success began appearing on the horizon, he accelerated even further. The stakes were no longer just about building software. They were about defining the direction of an entire industry through the growing influence of Microsoft. Success eventually forces a deeper question: what is all this power for? After decades of building one of the most influential technology companies in the world, Bill Gates began shifting his focus from accumulating wealth to confronting some of humanity's toughest challenges. The same mind that once studied lines of code now studied global health, education, and poverty with the same relentless curiosity. Men often reach a stage where achievement alone stops being enough. The psychology of purpose begins to replace the psychology of competition. For many men, the real measure of success becomes impact, leaving behind something that protects, improves, or advances the world for others. Gates started channeling his energy into solving problems that governments and institutions had struggled with for decades. Perspective also changes when success is viewed. Through the lens of partnership. Alongside Melinda French Gates, the mission expanded beyond technology and into global humanitarian work. From a woman's perspective, success is often measured not only by what is built, but by who benefits from it. This broader view helped transform a personal fortune into a global force for change. Through the work of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, billions of dollars were directed toward fighting diseases, improving education systems, and supporting communities around the world. The same discipline that once dominated the software industry was now applied to vaccination programs, agricultural development, and global research initiatives. What once began as the drive of a young man determined to master technology gradually evolved into a mission focused on improving human life at a global scale. Great impact begins with a mindset that refuses to see limits where others see walls. For Bill Gates, vision was never just about imagining the future. It was about believing strongly enough to build it. Long before personal computers became a normal part of everyday life, he believed that technology could empower ordinary people, expand knowledge, and reshape entire industries. Men often carry an internal drive to turn ideas into structures, systems, and movements. In the psychology of ambition, a powerful vision becomes something more than a dream. It becomes a responsibility. Gates approached challenges with the mindset of a builder, constantly asking how something could be improved, scaled, and shared with millions of people. That focus turned small ideas into global solutions. Discipline is often the quiet force behind extraordinary achievement. While many people admire success from the outside, they rarely see the thousands of decisions, corrections, and sacrifices required to sustain it. Gates became known for demanding excel, challenging assumptions, and pushing teams to think further than they believed possible. That level of commitment reflects a mindset many ambitious men recognize: the determination to master complexity rather than avoid it. Perspective also changes when influence grows large enough to shape the world. Alongside Melinda French Gates, the focus of his vision expanded from building powerful software to solving global problems affecting millions of lives. From a woman's perspective, leadership often includes a broader awareness of human impact, empathy, and long-term societal change. That shared outlook eventually strengthened the global mission of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, directing resources and research toward healthcare, education, and poverty reduction across continents. The same strategic thinking that once fueled the rise of Microsoft began driving efforts to fight diseases, improve opportunity, and support innovation around the world.